Hey, what's up guys? This is Josh from Upright Health. Today we're going to go over 2 exercises for anterior pelvic tilt and better core stability. So usually when you have a lot of anterior pelvic tilt or excessive lower back extension, it stems from not being able to stabilize your core enough. So these 2 exercises are going to help you activate the muscles of your core, but even more than that, they're really going to help you coordinate those muscles to be able to keep them active while you're actually moving, okay? Because that's what's really important, is that we can use these muscles, the correct muscles, when we move to keep good posture and efficient movement, okay? So let's get into it. This first exercise is going to be a bird dog. So we're going to be down on hands and knees here, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that my hands are right underneath my shoulders and my knees are right underneath my hips. Now from here, what we want to do is we want to find a neutral position with the spine. So I want to engage my core here, and if you're having trouble finding what's neutral, go ahead and just extend a little bit, flex a little bit, and then you should be able to kind of come back in the middle of that and say, okay, this seems about neutral right here. If you have a mirror to look into, or maybe you have a friend that could tell you, okay, your back is nice and flat, we don't have excessive extension right here, okay? So we get to neutral, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend my arm, and I'm going to kick my leg back, okay? So I'm reaching forward with the arm, I'm kicking the leg back, we're getting full extension here, my elbow gets straight, my knee gets straight, and we're putting a big emphasis on no change in my torso or my spine, okay? So we're here, I can come back, I can do that again. Now it's a very simple exercise, and if you mindlessly go through this and just kind of do this, then it's kind of like, what's the point of this, right? But if you use this, and if you kind of think of this as a way to ingrain better movement patterns, then you're really going to learn to control your spine while your limbs are moving, okay? And that's what's really important when correcting your anterior pelvic tilt and making yourself a better mover, okay? So switch here, I reach forward, I keep tension in the front of my stomach to keep my back nice and flat, and boom. Okay, so that's the bird dog. Once again, really try to internalize that movement to keep that core stable while you're moving. Now the next one that I want to show you is the quadruped rock. Now this is another movement that you can mindlessly go through and you're just kind of like, what is this doing for me? But if you really try to understand what's going on here, then it's going to help you be able to brace your spine, keep that in neutral better throughout your movement. So in the bird dog, we're kicking back into hip extension. In this exercise, we're actually going to be going back into hip flexion, okay? So once again, I'm going to find neutral here. I'm going to be in my quadruped position. I'm going to put the knees out a little bit further. And from here, what we're going to do is, keeping this neutral spine, I'm going to rock my hips back to my heels. So now we're in that good hip flexion. This is kind of like where you'd be in a squat. And then I'm going to come back up. Now if you're doing this correctly and you're keeping a neutral spine, you should be able to feel those hip muscles engage a little bit. I can kind of use my glutes to push me back up here. Another good angle to do is to come down to the elbows, and I can push back. I'm keeping tension in my stomach. I'm keeping a good neutral spine here. I could come forward. Now if you have excessive anterior tilt, it's going to look like this. We're going to go back, and then eventually my hips are going to dump under into posterior tilt, okay? So if that's happening to you and you're getting this type of movement, you're getting a lot of movement out of your pelvis and your back, then what you need to do is you need to get back to your starting position, really focus on engaging your core, keeping a stable core spine area. And then I want you to take it very slowly on the way back. And just go until you feel your lower back and your pelvis start to do a little bit of movement that we don't want. Just go to that range there and come back forward, okay? So it might be that you're only moving this much, and that's fine. What we're trying to do is just get used to this movement under a neutral spine, okay? Back and forth. Now, once you get good at this, you can change your knee position up. I can bring my knees closer. I can even kick my feet out. This is going to put me in some internal rotation at the hip. So now I can practice moving into hip flexion and out of it, keeping a neutral spine with some internal rotation in my hips as well, okay? And this is just a really good way to get movement at your hips, going through flexion and extension, practicing all of that while staying braced in the torso area. So these two exercises are both in the Fixed Anterior Pelvic Tilt program. Check that out if you want a little bit more detailed regimen on how to fix your anterior pelvic tilt. If you're having a lot of problems with it, then that's going to guide you along the way. All right, guys, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Upright Health, and always remember, pain sucks, life shouldn't.
If you enjoyed this video, then please like and comment. And be sure to subscribe to Upright Health for more great content in the future.